Hi, this is Lisa with a walk down memory lane. We are going to do some Copic coloring today. We're using a stamp from CC Designs called Laugh Lines, and it's the Laugh stamp. You're watching this in double time, so it looks like I'm a crazy stamper, but just want to let you know it's a little bit fast today. We're stamping with Memento ink. I like the Memento ink. It's dry quick, it gives a nice sharp line, and it doesn't bleed with my Copics. By the time I have my stamp cleaned and dried off, we are ready to color. We're using the Copic sketch markers today, using the YR 20, 21, 22, and 23 for the hair today. We have blondies in our house, so we color a lot of things with blonde hair colors. Gonna start coloring. Forgot to put a piece of paper underneath me, so that's a good thing to remember. Always have a piece of extra paper sitting underneath you when you're coloring. Starting with the lightest color, I'm coloring in where I think the highlights should be, and then going in with the second color, keeping those edges keeping the edges moist, coloring in around that, and then coming in with a third color again, going where I think the darkest color is going to be. Then coming back with that medium color and just kind of blending those edges so that it's a nice even edge all the way through. And then going with the YR24, that's our darkest color, going where I think it's going to be the darkest, giving a little bit more blending again. When I'm coloring in hair, I use 4 colors just because it gives a lot more depth, a lot more realistic. The more contrast you have from your darkest to your light color makes it a lot more realistic looking. Going back again with that darker color, adding some flecks of color of that dark, just to kind of give it looks like you've got some little extra hair strands in there. You can see adding little flecks of color in there. Again, now you can see kind of where we have it so that it looks where I left it light to make it look like her head is round. We're going to start with the little curls. Because the curls are beneath her head, behind her body in this stamp, we're not using very much of that light color. We're using the 3 darker colors instead. Again, just coloring them to make them look round or like cylinders. To keep that little pipe curl look. Again, I'm not worried so terribly much about blending perfectly with hair. I like to keep that so that you can see little pieces of hair, just like you would if you have highlights or lowlights in your own hair. Making sure that we've got some shadows underneath her face, behind her body. And now going back and blending just a little bit more. We're working with the sketch markers today. We carry all of the sketch markers, all of the colors and the refills. I like the sketch. They are easy to refill. You can use them in the airbrush system as well. Next we're working on her skin tone. The paper that we're using is an ivory color, and using the E0000, that's 4 zeros, is quite a light color on this ivory, so she looks kind of pale when we start coloring her. I did go through and add a darker color on the shadows here. You'll see that later, but just right now going through with that light color, keeping her eyes the white or the ivory color, and then adding in this skin tone. Just giving a nice base color first. Now going with a darker color underneath her hair, around her cheeks, and kind of by her nose, just to give just a little bit of depth to our stamp. Going back with a lighter color and blending in with that lighter color. Now I'm going back with a third color here. Like I said, it was just a little bit light. You couldn't see quite as much. I wanted to give her just a little bit more color off of this ivory color cardstock. So we're using a third color here. Now it's an E and then 2 zeros to give her just a little bit more suntan, I guess, for summer. So there, she's finished with her hair and her face. I guess I always start with the hair because sometimes I get the whole thing colored and work on the hair, and then I screw up the hair, and this way I don't have a whole thing colored, and then I have to start over again. I wanted to keep her shirt to look kind of like a white color. I'm using just the W00 and W0 just to give it just a little bit of shadow. I don't need to color it in all the way. I'm just underneath her shirt, under her sleeve, and thinking that the sun is coming in from the top left-hand side of the picture. So I'm thinking that on the bottom right of her shirt is going to be a little bit darker. Then I'm going to come in just a minute with the colorless blender. I'm going to take that starting in the color and just kind of blending that all the way into her shirt so it kind of blends to a white. I know it says colorless blender. I think it's misnamed. It doesn't do a whole lot of blending at all. It's more for special occasion type things, to give texture looking on bears or something like that. Alright, next we are going to start with her legs. We're starting with some B90s. We've got 4 different colors in the 90s. I love these 4 colors for jeans. It's a nice blue-gray color. We're keeping with the stripes today on her little leggings. Starting with the lightest color first, laying down just a little bit of color. We're going to add just texture, or add some shadows with basically starting again with the lightest color, working off to the darkest color. And I'm giving just a little bit of shadow on each stripe to make her little legs look like she's round instead of flat. Going from the lightest color, then the medium, then the dark, and then going back between to keep those edges moist and blended. You'll see on the next, we're going to work on the, I'm going to do the next stripes. And using those, we're going to start with the darker bit of the colors. Instead of the 91, 93, 95s, we're going to go the 93, 95, 97, 99s. So it's a nice monochromatic stripe, but it's a little bit darker. Each stripe is a little bit darker on here. You see I just kind of do a little bit more blending, so I have nice lines. I don't have lines, I guess. I have a nice blend. Again, we're starting off with some darker colors instead. Just one little shadow or one little color darker makes a great deal of difference when you're coloring it in. You'll be able to see those at the end with the finished card. That you can really see that a lot. We're working with the My Mind's Eye Lush 2 papers today with in the navy combination, and so that's why I chose these blue colors. Okay, just kind of adding just a little bit of that darker color again, just to make it look a little bit more realistic, give some more depth, add more contrast so that it really looks more realistic. Next, we're going to be working on her shoes. Just pulled a couple of browns from my collection. Oh, I'm going to color in her little flower here too. I'm not doing any shadow or shading or anything on these. These are really small little flowers. So I'm just going in with the B99 to make it a little dark. It's the same color family, it's just a little bit darker. Okay, now we're starting on her shoes, just coloring it in with the brown. The artist has added some little lines where they think the shadow should go, which is kind of nice. I don't have to do a whole lot of thinking. Adding in that darker color here. going over that with lighter color, and then she's done. Oh, no, decided to add just a little bit more color to the bottom of her shirt. It looks like lace, so we're just using a lighter or a darker W3. Same color family, it's just a little dark so that you can see that. All right, next we're going to fussy cut her out of her little piece of paper that we started. I'm using a Fiskars trimmer, or a Fiskars scissors, I guess. I really like that one because it's spring-loaded. I've got tendonitis, and this really cuts down on hand fatigue. So I'm cutting around, just leaving just a little bit of a space or a little bit of a white space around her. You'll notice when I'm cutting that my scissors hand doesn't do a whole lot of moving. I'm moving around the paper that I'm cutting instead of the scissors. I guess you can't see that as well because I'm cutting off the camera here. There we go. You can see that again, you know, that scissors doesn't do a whole lot of moving. I'm really trying to move my left hand with my image. Leaving just a little bit of space around, so you'll see just a little bit of a white space around her. It's hard to get a totally perfect cut when you're cutting these out, so I'm just using just leaving just a little bit, and hopefully people won't see that when I get the card all made. Just about done cutting her out. We're gonna put that card together here in a minute. Again, we're using the My Mind's Eye Lush 2 papers. We're gonna put that together. See on the back where the ink is bled through. That's perfectly fine. That way you know you've got enough ink there to do a good blend, which is another reason why you should have an extra piece of paper behind you when you're coloring. Okay, we're just using some papers here to make our card. Using the ATG gun. I love my ATG gun. It's really nice and sticky. I love it. Putting the card together. If you have any questions about any of the Copic coloring or anything that you've seen today, feel free to call me or email me at lisa@awalkdownmemorylane.net. Everything that you see here that was used in the card today, you can get from the store. We'll have links to it in the blog along with this video, and that can be found at www.awdml.com. And again, if you have any questions or anything or comments, please feel free to ask. Just going to finish off that card, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed watching a little bit of Copic coloring. Have a great day.